What's up, everybody? This is Chris Martinez from Dynamic Duo Training.
And this is Eric Martinez.
All right, today we're going to talk about cheat meals. All right, cheat meals, I don't know where the word originated, okay? But it's kind of an annoying word, in my opinion. And I know he gets annoyed too. And I know there's other people too that get really annoyed by this word too, okay?
It's almost like the word clean eating.
Yeah, so it's just kind of one of those words that just, it's not necessary, okay? And just to go a little bit into like where I think the cheat meals originated from was the fact that when you're dieting, when you're in a calorie deficit, people feel that they need a cheat meal as a reward, okay? And I guess it's because there's no other word out there that they came up with besides cheat meal. So it sounds like a reward meal or something like that, okay? So that's what basically a cheat meal is. It's basically you're following your diet right on point. You know, you're hitting your numbers, you're taking in the calories that you need, and then 1 or 2 days you go out and splurge and binge and eat whatever you want. That's a cheat meal, I guess, or a cheat day, okay? So we're gonna talk about some pros and cons about a cheat meal, okay? Now, I'll start off with the pro, he's gonna go with the con, and then a pro, con, just like that, okay? So, you guys ready? You guys got your seatbelts fastened for your cheat meal day? You guys got your cheat meals in front of you? All right, here we go, all right? So a pro for a cheat meal, okay? What I would say is eliminating cheat meals will lead to an unsustainable diet, okay? So, I think it's really, really bad if somebody sits there and deprives themselves of foods that they like, okay? So for example, if you're dieting and you just totally eliminate the foods that you guys like, ice cream, pizza, cake, stuff like that, okay? If you guys totally eliminate that, you guys aren't going to be able to sustain your guys' diet because those are foods that you guys like, okay? I mean, those are the sugars that you guys want. Those are foods that you guys crave. That's foods that make you happy, okay? So if you guys totally eliminate that and don't keep it in moderation some way into your diet, you guys are going to go off and cheat and splurge really, really big when you guys get a chance to get your hands on that pizza, the ice cream, or the cake, okay? You guys are going to be just in that mindset that, oh my God, like, you know, when's the last time I had that? You know, oh, I have to take advantage of it right now and I got to splurge on it because who knows when I'm going to go out there and be able to eat another piece of cake, pizza, or ice cream, right? So I think it doesn't leave you for a sustainable diet in the long run, okay? You got to be able to still incorporate those type of foods that you guys like and make you happy into your diet in some sort of moderation or control, okay? And we'll talk about that.
And I think another big one too is, I mean, you have that mindset of, oh man, I stay focused in everything during the week, you know, during the 5 days a week, but once the weekend rolls around, gotta have a cheat meal. I just gotta get it in there. You know, it's one of those things that just has to be done. So it really doesn't though. So here's the first con to having a quote unquote cheat meal. So your body isn't used to that amount of food. So kind of makes sense if you think about it. So let's say your body's used to taking in maybe 200 grams, or let's say 50 grams of carbs for one meal, okay? So then all of a sudden, you're gonna go off and have a cheat meal, okay? And then you don't even know how much is in that cheat meal for starters, okay? So like let's say you go out to a restaurant, eat a big burger and fries. You really don't know how many calories are in that. Let's say, okay, it's about 500 like 500 grams of carbs in it or something like that. Something huge because it's really greasy and all that. So what do you think that's gonna do? Your body's gonna get this huge insulin spike off of the carbs, and then it's not gonna have anywhere to store those carbs, where when you were having a controlled meal and knowing how much you were gonna actually get in for that meal, those carbs are gonna be stored as in your liver or your muscle glycogen, and that's where you want them to be stored. So when you go off and do a binge and have a cheat meal, you know that most likely your body's not gonna have room for those extra calories and carbs, so it's gonna be stored as fat. So that is one huge con to having a cheat meal.
Also too, with your body's not used to that amount of food, so when you're dieting, you know, your body gets accustomed to eating less amounts of food, taking in less amounts of calories, so your fat cells shrink, your GI tract shrinks, and there's plenty of evidence that shows this, okay? So it shrinks. So when you go off and you have, you know, an uncontrolled meal, and your body's not used to it, like Eric said, it's just not going to be able to regulate it the right way.
It's not. And it's very similar to like a training aspect of, you know, like neural adaptations and physical adaptations. It's, your body needs time to adapt to those kind of calories in that amount. So, you know, and just like if you're training, it needs time to adapt to that training. So same thing, pretty much.
All right, so pro number 2, okay? A controlled or relaxed cheat meal teaches you how to eat at social events, restaurants, etc. Okay? So, how many times have you guys seen somebody sit there that's dieting and there's a family event going on or a social event, and they go to the restaurant or something like that with Tupperware? They basically bust out their Tupperware or their protein shake and down it, right? So, you know, and this is the thing, okay? There's a lot of people that, you know, that's their mindset. Okay, that's totally fine. If you really, really want to do that, if you want to miss out on that time, that moment, that social event, hey, you know, that's your choice. But there's a lot of other people that like being in that moment, like to socialize. And food is a huge thing when it comes to that, right? It's huge. You know, and I hate when people sit there and embrace this type of stuff, because you'll see people out there be like, oh yeah, you know, like I'm hardcore, man. Like, well, I'm dieting, you know, like I got my shake and my Tupperware here. I can't eat that at a restaurant and enjoy my time. And you totally sit there and you're just like totally antisocial, and you're not even in that moment because you're just so like wrapped up in your own little world with your own little Tupperware and food inside right there. So I just think it's a really good thing to learn how to do a controlled cheat meal, right? Not a total splurge or binge, a controlled cheat meal. So for example, if you're counting your macros, okay, and you know exactly how much protein, carbs, and fat you need for that meal, and you go out to dinner with that social event, you'll have somewhat of an idea on how to control that meal, okay? You won't be lost in space saying, oh my God, how much calories do I need to take in? You know, how many carbs, fats, protein do I need? You will know how much you need, so you'll have a good indication being able to eyeball that food and look at the menu and kind of put it together, and you'll be right in that range of your macros, okay, in the calorie range, and you won't sit there and mess anything up, okay?
Okay, so con number 2 to a cheat meal. It undoes weeks worth of work. So what we mean by that is, okay, let's say Monday through Friday, you're sitting there busting your ass, okay, eating right, training right, getting good sleep, all that stuff, okay? But then when you go and have that cheat meal over the weekend, that binge, that splurge, it's gonna set you back no matter what. Whether you think it's not, it really is. So, is it really worth it is what we're trying to ask and what we're trying to tell you guys. Is it really worth all that hard work you did during the week just for one cheat meal, just to satisfy your needs, to make you feel more comfortable, to make you happy, all those reasons? It's really not worth it. So that's why we emphasize, if you're going to do that, go with the controlled meal.
Right. So also, undoing weeks worth of work. So it takes about 3,500 calories to store 1 pound of body fat, okay? So when you go on that day to the Cheesecake Factory, you have your normal dinner, and then of course you can't sit there and pass up some cheesecake at Cheesecake Factory, right? So you guys have that along with the big meal you guys had. You cannot sit there and tell me that that is not more than 3,500 calories, okay? So what do you think is gonna happen? You're gonna store body fat, okay? I guarantee you will store body fat, and it will take about a week to get your body back into that normal, you know, eating habits and the calories that it's used to taking in.
So you're constantly you're having setbacks.
Exactly. It's a big behavioral issue. Number 3 for a cheat meal, okay? It could stimulate your metabolic rate, okay? So when you diet down, your metabolism is going to slow down no matter what, okay? There's plenty of research behind this too. It will go down and slow down. Your metabolism will slow down, okay? So if you get in a high carb meal, you know, and that's like a cheat meal, okay? Probably most likely a high carb meal. It could stimulate your metabolism, okay? But there's a caveat to that, okay? You have to have enough metabolic capacity to do this, okay? And not everybody has enough metabolic cushion and calorie cushion to be able to do a controlled cheat meal or high carb day, okay? So there's a caveat to that, and be careful with that, okay? It's anabolic if you have a high carb day. Sure, because it's gonna spike insulin again, okay? It's going to help with leptin levels as well. Okay, that's going to spike up too as well. It's good psychologically. Okay. Okay, it goes back to the thing about almost rewarding yourself, right, for being really strict on your diet. Okay, so it is a good thing in a way, because it is psychologically good and okay, because you are working hard on that diet and you do want to eat the foods that you like I said earlier in the video, you know, the pizza, the ice cream, stuff like that, okay? But you have to learn how to control it and you have to learn how to fit it into your macros, okay? So that's why I'm saying it's good psychologically too, but there's always a caveat to all these things, okay? So just keep that in mind.
So then that brings us to our last con, which is majority of people aren't educated on how to control a cheat meal. So that goes back to what we were talking about. We call it flexible dieting, macro counting. It goes back to that. It's people don't understand how to do that. They don't know how to get their numbers in properly. So therefore, they're left with the last option, which is just go and splurge and get that big meal in, because they're really not educated on doing that. So we highly emphasize that you do get familiar with flexible dieting, learn how to count your macros, and obviously hire someone to help you out to do that if that's what it takes. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. Okay, so we don't want to take up too much time in this video. So that's basically 3 cons, 3 pros right there to quote unquote cheat meals. We want to call them controlled meals or relaxed meals. Okay, that's a better word than cheat meal. So yeah, if you guys have any questions about this, please feel free to leave some comments or questions down there below. You know, email us at dynamicduotraining@gmail.com. Send us a message on Facebook. You know, we're more than welcome to or glad to help you guys out and answer questions. Okay, so with that said, hope you guys learned a lot on cheat meals today. If you guys should do it or not, should give you a good idea. Please visit us on our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Subscribe to our channel, please. Peace.